Hey YouTube! What you've just heard wasn't my beloved Helix Floor, which I normally use to produce guitar sound. It was a different kind of software. It was the Neural Amp Modeler, and what you've heard was a model of a Sound City 50 amplifier going through a Marshall cabinet. Yeah, this Neural Amp Modeler thing has got me in the recent days. I really enjoy using the software for a variety of reasons. First of all, I enjoy the technology. I'm a computer science teacher at a local grammar school here in Cologne. So when I heard about an open software using machine learning to emulate amps, I had to take a look, of course. And the results are absolutely stellar. The sounds you produce are par with commercial closed source solutions like the Kemper or have your Tone X. And the whole thing is open source. And that it's open source doesn't only mean it's free. It's also open. You can read the computer code the developers have written. You can modify it. You can write new features to it. And so it's a community-driven project, which is also mirrored in the Amp Captures Neural Amp Modeler place, because these are done by the community worldwide, by people who use Neural Amp Modeler to capture their gear. The machine learning comes in when capturing the gear, actually, because Neural Amp Modeler uses neural networks to model the amplifier, which basically means you've got a computer representation of the human brain in which neurons fire or don't fire if a certain threshold in them is exceeded. But that is all very, very complicated mathematics. Basically, the thing works like that. You can download an input file which has some strange noises in it designed to train the model. And then you reamp this input file. It's a WAV file. You reamp it through your amplifier or pedal, and you record the results. And you call that output. And then you take on the one hand input, and on the other hand output, and in between there's a neural model you can train that it maps the input file onto the output file. And then the neural network in between is the model of your amplifier. And as you see, computer learns quite well to behave like a Sound City 50 watt. So in this video I'm going to take a look. First of all, I'm going to show you some sounds you can produce with the Neural Amp Modeler using free models, and only free models and IRs I downloaded from the community website called tone3000.com. I also show you how to train your own models if you've got a piece of gear you would like to capture and everything. I'm going to show, of course, also how Neural Amp Modeler can be downloaded and installed. So at the end of this video, you hopefully have an idea what this whole very cool open source software project is about. So first of all, let's hear some models. You can see here the graphical user interface of Neural Amp Modeler. It's quite small, but it contains all the necessary functions. First of all, you got input here, which determines how loud your guitar is being fed into Neural Amp Modeler. You can also use that to increase or decrease the distortion, but it's not the gain knob on the amp. The amp is modeled statically, so there are certain limitations in increasing or decreasing distortions by lowering or adjusting the input volume. Then Neural Amp Modeler comes with a noise gate currently set to -80 dB. You can turn it off here or turn it on again. And here is a free band equalizer, bass, middle treble, which I currently have turned off. I normally don't use it because this has got nothing to do with the controls on the actual amp being modeled. It's just a free band EQ implemented after the static model. And well, Neural Amp Modeler does not only come alone as a standalone software, it also comes as an audio unit or VST plugin. So when using it in a DAW to record a song, you would normally use the channel EQ of your DAW to shape sound and not the EQ on the Neural Amp Modeler. So I'm not talking about that today. Here is the output volume, which does what it's designed for. You can here you can adjust the volume, the overall volume of the amp modeler. Here you load the models, and here you load the IRs. Not all models need IRs though. Some people just capture their amplifier, and then you've got a model of the amplifier but not of the cabinet. So then you would need an IR to produce a pleasant guitar sound. Some people model amplifier plus cabinet, then you've got a full rig capture. You don't need an IR to do those. The IR is already in the model. Yeah, but this one, which I'm just using, doesn't come with speaker simulation. It's just the model of a Sound City 50 watt amp. Called Working Man's Marshall here in Germany in the 70s. Many krautrock bands have used it, so I stumbled upon it, wanted to give it a try. But I also find some other cool stuff which I'm going to show you. I've downloaded quite a few of these models and I've sorted them by the amp brands they are modeling. I found a very, very cool Soldano, pardon me for clicking on the wrong folder, of a preamp Soldano used to do called the X88R, I think, I don't remember, but it's a Soldano preamp, and you can see that it comes, well, with a classic Soldano sound in here. And the guy who modeled the Soldano, who captured the Soldano, he well made quite a few very usable patches. He also has a clean tone which he captured on the same preamp. Works great on the neck pickup as well. Very cool stuff. And he also gave us some lead sounds, like balanced or scooped. I need to turn that down a little as it's very, very loud. This is the lead sound he did. Works also great on the neck pickup. That is one cool high gain sound I found. Check that out. Soldano X88 preamp model. Still running through the Marshall IR I've used for the Sound City as well. If you are more on the mid gain road as I am, there's also a very cool model of the Bogner Goldfinger. Quite a lot of patches he created there. Which is more in the mid-gain direction, like for example this. You can turn it up again. Sounds very, very, very cool. Also here we've got like also a crunch sound. This one was very good. You can see it still has got, well, note separation. Very cool, very cool. You see how good these sounds are. There are also some I've downloaded which don't require an IR, so if I turn that off and now go into my Fender directory, there's a clone of a super reverb they did. Very, very cool stuff here. Check that out. That is a capture of a full super reverb combo, like amplifier and cabinet, so I don't need an IR. Some middle position action. Yeah, Fender super reverb there. So you see you've got quite a lot of models you can try out. You always load the model here, load the IR if it's necessary here, and you're good to go. Yeah. And well, what I said at the beginning of the video, now comes all the technical stuff. Downloading, installing, and using the capture feature and everything. Yeah, enjoy. If you want to download Neural Amp Modeler, you first will have to download the installer. In order to do so, you just fire up your web browser and visit the site neuralampmodeler.com like I do right here. Once you've loaded the website, you can see that there is a button which is labeled play on the upper left. I'm going to push that because that brings me to the user area of the site. And you want to scroll down to play, and there you have the specific installer for your operating system. You download them, and then you follow the instructions on the screen to install Neural Amp Modeler. However, make sure you also install the audio unit or the VST, depending on which DAW you use, so that you have Neural Amp Modeler ready as a plugin in your DAW after installation. Okay. Once you've installed Neural Amp Modeler and started, it should look something like this. On the lower half of the user interface, you have select model directory. That's where the models are loaded. And then you have the IR directory. Here you can load impulse responses, for example, of guitar caps. This all comes without any models or IRs. You have to download them separately. You can download them on the page tone3000.com. Once you've reached the page, you just push the button which is labeled browse, and then you see all the models which are for download. Some of them are full rig combo captures like this one. And there you have the cap sim already in the model of the amplifier. Others, however, are just amp and head captures. So here you've just got the amplifier captured, and you need an impulse response of a guitar cap to produce a pleasant guitar sound, or to produce the full rig like you would mic it up in the studio. However, if you use a Neural Amp Modeler, you need to select a model first, and you navigate to the folder in which you store all your models. You see I've got quite a few directories containing models. I've sorted them by amp brand. And for example, if I want to play, well, what have you, maybe I want to play a Soldano. And I navigate to that directory, and I just open, and then I can cycle through all the models, which are basically the amplifier at different settings. This one needs an IR to function because it's just the amplifier. And then I'm just loading an IR. I've downloaded a few from the tone3000.com page, and I've stored them in my IR folder, and then I, have them here. And I can basically select which IR I want to use with the Soldano amp. And now I've got a full rig, and I can tweak and play and whatever. However, if you are on Mac OS X as me, there is a little catch if you want to use Neural Amp Modeler as a standalone application. If you go to the settings, you need to make sure it requests access to the microphone of your MacBook. At the moment, it's connected to the Helix Audio, which is my audio interface. And I need to, trigger it to make a request to access the microphone of my MacBook. And I do that here. And if I now push it and push OK, it's going to request microphone access, which is absolutely necessary for the standalone plugin to work properly. However, before you switch the input device to the microphone of your MacBook, make sure your loudspeakers are turned off or turned all the way down, because if you don't do that, you're going to produce a huge feedback, which is very loud, and it might damage your loudspeakers or even worse, your hearing. So make sure your loudspeakers are turned off or turned all the way down before you select the microphone as input device. Here, you can set the buffer size. I've set it to 64. Lower buffer sizes make lower latencies, but draw heavily on the CPU, whereas higher buffer sizes increase latency, but draw less on the CPU. So here you've got a trade-in speed of computer, latency of guitar signal, and you need to try that out for yourself. Okay, once you've got all that ready, you should be ready to go and play the Neural Amp Modeler and have fun playing guitar doing so. All right, if you want to capture your gear, however, you can do so also by visiting the website Tone3000.
And on the upper right corner, you have Create Tone. If you hit that, you have Upload and Capture as options. And we'll go for Capture as we want to capture our gear. Here is the user interface to capture your gear. Actually, you have to download something first. First, you have to download the sweep signal. And having downloaded the sweep signal, you have to reamp it through the gear you want to capture. And when reamping, it's very crucial that you keep to the following formats. You have to set your sample rate to 48.1 kilohertz, and you have to have a bit depth of 24-bit in your recording. I have prepared such files. They need to be mono. Be careful that they're not too loud. And I have reamped my trusty old Ibanez Jet driver. Did I also mention that NAMM can model pedals as well? And I've done 5 reampings, all mono, 48.1 kilohertz, 24-bit wave files, and I'm uploading these to the capturing interface, and they're all captures of the Jet driver at different settings. Doesn't matter which they are for the moment. Okay, next, please check that the names of your profiles are self-explanatory as they are here, Jet driver, and then whatever the capture is doing. And now we can press to the next page. Normally you distribute those in a tone pack. This is going to be the tone pack Ibanez Jet driver, whatever. I'm creating that now as it doesn't exist, of course, because I'm uploading the files right now. And well, it is a pedal. NAMM can also model pedals, I told you that. And now I write a short description of my tone pack, so everybody who stumbles across it on Tone 3000 knows what this can do. Actually, I created 5 captures of the pedal, each at different settings. The 3 settings which were recommended by Ibanez in the manual, +1 with gain full, +1 with all the controls flat. Here we can hit save so that you have it already. You can also upload a picture of your gear. I haven't done that yet. I'll do that later and I'll leave it for now. Makes and models should be the Ibanez Jet driver. I have to create that first. Oh, that didn't work because I did not click create. Okay. Ibanez Jet driver is make and model, JD9, and I hit create and there it is. You can give the thing some text so that the search engine can find it better. I go for overdrive pedal, there it is. I'm not linking anything at the moment. I'm setting this to public, and of course I have to assert that I comply with the tone sharing policy. You can read that before you upload any of your tones. I hit submit, and next thing, it will show us the training site. This is already the finished tone pack, and here you can see all these things training. We got an error message. I'll keep to that later. Normally, if the reampings are too loud, that happens. And it's training. Will be online when you watch that video.
So, what are my final thoughts on Neural Amp Modeler? I'm absolutely excited about it. I'm very, very impressed. It's up par with, well, the expensive closed source solutions for amp capturing, absolutely. I got some very, very cool sounds of it, and well, it's open source, it's community driven. Everybody can contribute, be it by capturing a model of your gear, I did some of mine, or contributing to the code. The whole project is run by a guy called Stephen Atkinson. He's an absolute great computer scientist, and he wrote all that great code and he put it on GitHub. So you can contribute there, you can collaborate, you can test versions and do stuff. And that is what open source is all about, that there is a community creating a useful product for everybody. And this thing is more than useful. This is professional guitar audio software. And I encourage you to use it. I also got the audio unit installed and used it in my Logic DAW, and it made some great guitar sounds. The only thing I have to say about it is that it requires quite a lot of CPU. because it's machine learning, and machine learning where you need to compute a lot. Yeah, so this is the only thing I can say about it. But then again, I haven't gotten used of laptops and everything, so it should work on a current machine much better than on my 7-year-old laptop. Yeah. So you see, Neural Amp Modeler, great piece of software. Download it, use it, it's great. Okay, fine, that's it for today. If you've liked the video, you might want to give me a thumbs up or even subscribe my channel. I'd be very grateful if you did so. And until next time, have fun playing guitar.